today we are talking about getting social and keeping the connection with friends, with family. And I know right now in the middle of a pandemic, that is really, really challenging. But the way women are naturally designed, we need connection. We recharge, we energize ourselves by having emotional connection. And that's what feeds our soul. That's what feeds that piece of self-care that recharges our emotional. So I decided to do this with Sarah Beth because this is me being social. But she has been really great at staying social during the pandemic. And I thought this would be a really cool opportunity for her to share with you guys what she's doing to make sure that she's getting that emotional connection every week. So Sarah Beth, tell me about what you're doing. What's your routine like?
So I have days set aside to talk to people because I found at the beginning of pandemic, every time I talked to someone, we'd be like, we need to talk more often, but it just wasn't happening. When every day and every minute kind of doesn't seem any different from the other ones, it's hard to like prioritize stuff. So I just kind of made a schedule with a couple of people to talk once a week, once a month, twice a month, and we have it on our schedule. And you know, sometimes things get messed up and you have to move times, but by putting aside that time that like, hey, I call my mom every 9:30 on Monday morning and we talk until one of us realizes, wow, we've talked so long and I haven't eaten food yet, or whatever the problem is. So that helps just to leave space for it. It doesn't have to happen every time, but if you don't like make the space, it just never seems to happen.
That's a really good point. I'm really glad you brought that up because while yes, we're talking about being social, you also have to make sure that you make the space for it, right? That brings in like time management skills, getting yourself a day planner, putting it on your calendar, putting it in your schedule somehow. That's a whole different area of self-care, but
they're all related,
right? They are. They intertwine so much. You know, we keep talking about how there's like these 4 different pieces to self-care. It's the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual, but they all interconnect a lot, right? And this definitely interconnects with the emotional. If you maybe go do a hike with your girlfriend, that gets that physical in, and you get to talk the whole time, right? And it feeds the soul, so it's definitely feeding into that spiritual side. That is so cool.
Well, and one of the things I also wanted to say is one of the things I love about our talks when we schedule it for, and today is our scheduled meeting time, is we work side by side. So I know like the other problem that I have trying to stay social is you call someone, you say, what's new? And they say, nothing, we live in a pandemic. But if you guys like co-work or cook side by side, I've done that with a few friends where I'll be chopping vegetables at my house and they're chopping vegetables at their house, and it kind of negates the need for such like attention to social, and it's more similar to the type of social we're used to, where we're not just staring at each other's eyes and trying to force a conversation and a connection that's not as natural. That really helps me do puzzles together online, or cook next to each other, or work next to each other like we do. I think that really helps keep the social like alive and not strained feeling, because then it feels tiring again.
Absolutely. We're so burned out on being on Zoom, which is funny that we're recording this on Zoom, but you know, it is what it is. But we are definitely getting burned out on looking at screens constantly, being on Zoom, being on video chats of whatever kind of video chat you're on. So it is kind of nice because while you're doing something else, while you're chopping your vegetables, that person is still there and you can still hear them and you can glance over and still see them, but you don't have to be so focused on it. Although when we work side by side, we're working on computer screens, so that doesn't do much for that.
Today, I built something. This wasn't a computer screen. This was a physical project. And I just did it in front of my computer screen.
Right.
That's when desks come in handy.
Absolutely. So yeah, I love that idea of doing a work side by side kind of thing. And you still keep that connection with other people because you're right. Like we haven't had much happen in our lives lately that what are you going to talk about? It's just crazy. I mean, you can talk about the pandemic, you can talk about politics, but come on, that shit gets old. So yeah, it's a nice change of pace. It's a sense of normalcy. So I thank you so much for participating in today's video chat.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this self-care challenge. It's nice to have something to do. Not like that you can accomplish. Sorry, that sounds bad. I sit at my computer all day and it's like sometimes you don't feel like you accomplished anything. And it's really nice with these projects to be like, I did it.